Hello, good day, and welcome back to this Python programming series. In our previous video, we talked about how to index and slice a list object. So in this video, we are going to be working with the built-in list methods. So like we did with other data types, the list object has some built-in methods in Python that we can use to perform some certain functions on the object. We can use to manipulate, modify, update, delete, make changes to the list object. So let's start already on our VS Code. So we have three list variable here, and if you remember, we have the my list variable, the new list variable, and we also have the number list variable. So my list variable, I'm going to print the value again to the screen so that we see what we are working with. So I'm going to print this and I'm going to save. So we have this list object here as the value of my list variable. So, or I can just format the string and put this in a string quote, and I'm going to the value of my list variable is, and I'm going to add the semicolon and pass in the my list data, right? So I'm going to comment this out so that we know exactly what we are working with. So again, I'm going to print this. So this is the value of my list variable. Now, there are several list methods that are available in Python. So for the meantime, I'm going to move this variable down to where we are writing our current code. So I'm going to cut it and I'm going to move it down here. We are going to be manipulating this my list variable, right, using the several methods that we have for Python list. So some of them include the append method, insert, the extend, the remove method, the pop method, the pop item method, the clear method, the index method, the count, and we also have the sort method, the copy method, and the sort reverse method. So now we are going to be working with all of these methods in this video. Right now, I'm going to clear this, and also remember that at a point we had to turn off our code runner. So I want to turn it back on, and here we are going to enable it again, right? And our output should be coming out from this output tab from now henceforth. So I'm going to clear this. Like I stated earlier, we are going to be working with list method. So we are going to be starting with the append method. So what does the append method do? Well, the append method adds an element to the list object. I'm going to set this variable to methods, and I'm going to set it to my list dot all the methods that we are going to pass in. So the first one we are going to be working with is the append. So now we have this biodata list, and the next item that I want to insert here is probably the complexion. So now we're already printing my list here after appending this. So we are going to save this and run. So now we have completion added to the data we already had on my list. So another thing that we can do is that we can insert a data. Okay, we can use this insert method to add a data inside this list object. So I can decide to insert an object inside this my list object. So I will call the insert, and I want to insert completion too. So, and I'm going to insert it at index 2. So now this insert method takes two arguments. So the first one is the position where you want that object that you're inserting to be, and the second argument is the object that you're inserting. So now we have this, and remember that the append method is no longer here. So this completion is no longer going to be here. It is now going to be in the position of this index 2. So when you are using the append, automatically the object comes to the end of the list. But when you are inserting, you are going to specify the position you want the object to be inserted in. So I'm going to save this now and run this code. So now in index 2, we now have this completion. So, and right now I'm clearing this output. So now we are going to use the extend method. And what does it do? So we are going to use the extend method. Well, this extend method accepts another list variable. So you can create a list in here directly, or you create another list. So we already have another list variable here, and another list variable here is like this number list or new list. So I can say that I want to extend this my list variable, right? So, and I can pass in, this is a list here. So I will insert this 1, 2, and 3. So if I save this and run it, now we have 1, 2, 3 added to this list. So it's like you are merging two lists together. So if I could also remove this list that I wrote directly here, and I'm going to type in another list that we already have. So the other one is new list, and or I'm going to use the new list is fine. So because it just has Python. So I'm going to save and run, and now we can see that the list is added to that. So the next one we are going to be using is the remove method. So the remove method is used to remove a specific member of the list. So right now, you're not going to type in the index, you're only going to type in the name of that particular item on the list. So that one is age. So I am going to save and print again. So you can see that there is no longer age in this my list output, right? So the next one is that we are going to use the pop method. So and we are going to save and run. Now it has removed the last element. So what this pop method will do for you is that by default it will remove the last element on that list, but you can choose to specify a particular index that you want to remove, and I will save and run. So now we had height on index 2. Now we see that height is no longer here, right? So the next one we are going to be working with is the clear method. So I'm going to remove that argument, and I'm going to change the method to clear, and I'm going to save and run. So what happens is that it clears everything inside this list and returns an empty list object to you. So now another method, the next method we are going to be working with is the index method. So for this index method, what you are going to pass in is a particular item in that list, right? So we are going to reference the age item in that list. So this age item, if we want to get the index, we are going to set this particular my list.index to a particular variable so that we can print it separately. So I can call it index, and I'll set it to that. So alongside this print statement, I'm also going to print that index. Now we have the second print statement is 1. So the index of this age here is 1. So the next one we are going to be working with is the count. So I'm going to enter another data, and I'm going to also include name again. So now that I've included the name object again, I can now, the next method I'm going to use is the count method, and I'm going to count how many names are there. So and we are going to print the index value. So I am going to save this and run. So remember that this time around we are no longer using the index method. It's just that I've already assigned this variable, and I don't think there is any necessity to change it. So the most important thing is that you understand what we are doing. Okay, so we have name and we have name. So if you are to count age, yeah, and then save and run, you can see that, let's scroll down, we have only one age here. So that is it. Now, the next method we are going to be working with is the sort method. So this time around, I'm going to call the sort method, and I'm going to remove this, right? And I'm going to remove this too. So now I'm going to save and run. So all this method will do for us is that it will sort the values of my name or this list to alphabetical order. So I remember that we have another list variable that's number, so we can reference that list too. So the name is number list, and we can sort it and print, number list. So let's save and run. So now we have that. Okay, we don't have any random display of numbers. So we can also call the sort method on the new list variable. So because I remember that it was just the word Python that was converted to list there. So new list, and this time around we save again and run. So as you can see, it has been sorted in the alphabetical orders. Okay, so let's use this. So I'm going to go back to my list and not new list. So but if I come here and I write reverse equals true, so what will happen is that it will still sort this, but it is going to reverse this number, this order. So it's no longer going to be from the lowest alphabet to the highest. It will now come from the highest. So this time we have weight, and we are going down to age, right? So I'm going to clear this, and the next one we can do is that we are going to copy the value of this list and create another list. So I'm going to call this one list 2, and I'm going to set it to my list dot copy. And this time around, I'm going to print list 2, not my list. Yeah, so I'm going to save. So to be sure of what we are doing, I'm going to remove this sort method on my list. And I'm going to save and run again. So you can see that it's whatever we have here as the value of my list. So far you are copying this my list, the value of this list 2 becomes the value of my list. So another way you can copy the list is that you can see that your list 2 is my list. You open this parenthesis and enter this. So let's clear the output, and sorry, let's clear the output and save and run. So now you can see that it has also copied it. Okay, the new list has now copied this particular list again. So now that is it for the list methods that we have in Python. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next.